Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new here. This is the continuation of the Idaho 4 series of readings, and today I'm looking at Jack DuCoeur, who was Kaylee's very recently ex-boyfriend at the time of the unalivings. So there's been a lot of speculation about Jack at the time, especially before Brian Kohberger was arrested. I think he was called in for questioning pretty early on. I have obviously done other readings where I've channeled Kaylee and she's told me things about Jack. But that aside, we're going to do a reading and find out, either lay all the rumours to rest or see if there's anything in them. This is a tarot reading. I use tarot, it's a psychic tarot reading. I use tarot cards, oracle cards, and occasionally I receive messages from spirit during a reading as well. I interpret these cards in my way, and the cards are open to interpretation, and you may look at these cards and think something differently, and I encourage you to interpret them in your own way. So it is for entertainment purposes only, and at no point am I stating or claiming any of this to be factual. So let's get going about Jack. I'm hoping my audio might be better. I know a couple of you have complained about the audio being too low. I don't know why, guys. I've just bought a much better quality microphone. My levels are up to max, both on the microphone and on my system. I don't know what else to do at this stage. I mean, I've installed some audio software that might help, and I don't know if that's actually working at the moment, but my life is just one big technical problem. Okay, so let's do the Clarifying Life Situations deck. I'm slightly off centre. Better. Okay. Also, another thing I keep meaning to mention is, first of all of your comments, I do read all of them. Please know that I do read all of them. I don't have the time to respond or reply to every single one of you, but I promise you all your comments are read and noted. You'll see I put a little heart next to any comment that I've seen. It's really just an acknowledgement to show that I've seen it. There's a few requests for me to do certain people, you know, please, for example, I've had, please can you read Chief Fry and, you know, the police officers next. I will get to them. I have to do these readings in a certain order, because I just need to know, I need to build up to that, if that makes sense. So, and I hope it does make sense, and I hope you understand why. But all of the main suspects, but all of the people that people are most suspicious about are going to be the final third, if you like, if that makes sense. But yeah, I don't want to keep going back and, you know, like, for instance, doing someone like Brett Payne tomorrow and then going back and doing Brian's sister, you know, it's just, does that make sense? So let's see what's going on with Jack DuCoeur. Okay, so we have the first card, stay in the flow. Surrender to the rhythm of life, remaining open to opportunities and lessons as they naturally unfold. And then we have getting advice, seek guidance with an open heart, ready to learn and grow from the wisdom offered by others. It's another one that was needing advice. It's interesting. Stay in the flow. Surrender to the rhythm of life. It's interesting. I don't know, that stay in the flow is giving me energy of someone who, I mean, we were talking about Jack obviously, but it was almost like he felt like removing himself from his usual social flow, if you like, because there's a sense of overwhelm here that he couldn't get away from it. Everyone was talking about it. He wanted, it's a bit of denial, I think. There's a bit of, especially in the early days, of just wanting to close his ears to it. But actually he realised that he's better keeping his ears open, eyes and ears open, rather than trying to shut it out. That's what I get from that. The getting advice. What was he needing advice about? I don't know, guys. I'm not getting anything that's worrying me at this stage, but like I say, when we pull the clarifiers, that might change. So the next deck is the, here we go, the power of self-direction, which hasn't got, that's why I never know what it's called, because it's not labelled. Sorry, that is my microphone, in case you're wondering. Okay, so it's spat 3 cards out. This one is opportunity, perseverance, conquest, spirit, untapped potential. Then we have success, abundance, status and privilege, maintaining humility and balance. Grow up, patience, autonomy, empowerment and self-confidence. Jack has such a baby face. He's one of those that just, he looked younger than his years, I think. And this, if anything's made him grow up, then it's definitely this, I would say. Opportunity, perseverance, conquest, spirit, untapped potential. He had to overcome something. You got to think, all these people, all these, you know, Kaylee, Maddie, Ethan and Xana's friends were all around the same age, and they're all at the same stage in their life. They're all on the verge of, you know, actually discovering the world and independence and you know, finding out who they are. So, you know, even Jack, he would have been probably, I don't know if he went to the same college, or I know he lived very close by. But regardless, I'm assuming he's around the same age as Kaylee, and so therefore he must have been on the verge of the next big thing in life, which would have been graduating and then moving into, I mean, possibly maybe more education, but possibly his first rung of the career ladder, all of that kind of thing, which is huge. And when something like this happens, it's like it must just stop you in your tracks and make you forget where you were going, which is kind of what I'm getting here, that he did end up persevering to continue what he originally set out to do with his life. Success, abundance, status and privilege, maintaining humility and balance. I don't know anything about his family. I don't know if his family are privileged or well off. Maybe. But I don't think that's what this card is about. In their own way, some of these people have become famous, you know, through this whole case. So maybe he's been getting a bit of public recognition, hopefully, I mean, unless it's for good reason, hopefully not negative, or it may be more supportive. Maybe he's made some good connections from this, or he's had an outpouring of love and support, who knows? And that may be what the abundance is about, that he's had to maintain his humility because he feels the centre of attention. Grow up, patience, autonomy, empowerment, self-confidence. So there you go. Again, like I was saying, the autonomy is like independence. It's doing things for yourself. It's making your own decisions, and being empowered by that. And this is about him growing up. This is about him, I hate to say it, guys, but boys take maybe a bit longer than girls to reach sort of mental maturity, I suppose. There's nothing wrong with that. But yeah, it's just that time in his life where he's becoming a man. So next deck is the What's the Vibe? We've got isolation. And delay. Okay, so isolation, rejected, left alone, self-inflicted. And time delay, procrastination, too busy. Isolation. I did get the feeling with Jack that he went into a bit of a mental, well, not even mental, I feel like he, the time immediately after the unalivings that he did, maybe he went somewhere, but I do feel it was more for his own sanity than for any other reason. I don't think it's because he was running away from something or he had something to hide. But I keep seeing Jack going fishing, and I don't know if that's because I've seen something somewhere at some point, or if it's an actual download I'm getting. But it feels like a time when he would have wanted to take himself off just to try and process what had happened. But then feeling rejected. It's hard, it's tough. Then this time delay. Procrastination too, God. It makes me feel like that card, the time delay card, procrastination too busy. One of his biggest regrets was knowing that Kaylee was desperately trying to call him that night and he didn't bother answering. That must be hard. So then the next deck is the Places Oracle. So we've got factory, industrial production, manufacturing process, assembly line. Bustling hub, social nexus, lively activities, cultural melting pot. Strange, the factory. Just, it feels, the one word that's jumping out to me on that card is manufacturing, manufactured, like something's been purposefully made a certain way, made to look a certain way. Assembly line. Bustling hub, social nexus, lively activities, cultural melting pot. I mean, this feels like his life in general before this happened. I do feel like there's a lot of obviously very social, lots of parties, lots of stuff going on. But it also makes me feel the sort of the social media side of things. It's like that, what I said earlier about him not ever being able to get away from the noise or everyone talking about it, or the activities. And then we've got the chakra deck, which Spirit wanted me to use, so let's use it. So we've got complacency, and release. Complacency. I don't feel like it's him. I don't feel like he's complacent. I don't. When I tap into his energy, I feel like he's someone that would have been very invested in everything to do with this. Even though I said he wanted to shut out the noise, but I'm kind of talking about the early days and weeks and months. But then after that, I feel like, I don't know, I keep hearing phrases like, Kaylee would have wanted me to do this, or Kaylee would have wanted me to look into it, knowing how invested Kaylee was in true crime. It's like he sort of feels like, right, I need to start looking into this, or I don't know. And then release. I mean, it could be as simple as him being exonerated from any connection, or that could be that. So let's do the tarot. So the first card, stay in the flow. Clarified by the Two of Pentacles in reverse. Six of Wands reversed. So, yeah, he had to kind of, he didn't like it to begin with, but he had to be in it rather than out of it, because if he was out of it, as in trying to detach himself or distance himself from what was going on, that was worse. Not knowing is worse than knowing, he discovered. The Two of Pentacles in reverse. Having no control over what's happening, what's coming next. It just feels like a very up and down time for him as well. It's like very, very conflicting emotions I'm getting. I feel a lot of I feel him being really hard on himself. So many regrets that he has. It's like it's the typical thing of you don't actually realise what you've got until it's gone. It's very much like that. I don't know the reason for why they broke up, but what I do feel is that it was never anything. It wasn't a bad breakup, or they had a fight and fell out and said they'd never talk to each other. I don't know if it was because Kaylee was going away or Kaylee decided to go away after the breakup. But I keep getting, when I say keep getting, I had Kaylee a while back telling me how much she used to deliberately annoy Jack when they were together, that she was just one of these persistently annoying people just to get a reaction out of him, which she said was really funny, but I can understand it's also like that's not why they broke up. But Six of Wands reversed, feeling like a failure. I feel Jack felt a failure well, I know why he felt like a failure. He felt like a failure because, as far as I could tell from what Kaylee's told me before, he knew what was going to happen. I don't think he knew days or weeks in advance. I think he literally found out that day. You know, I think it was very close to the actual time of the event, but he feels like a failure because he couldn't save her. Getting advice. Clarified by the Page of Cups reversed. And the Two of Wands. I don't know what the card is about, getting advice. The Two of Cups, sorry, the Page of Cups reversed. It's a bit weird because it's making me feel like I'm thinking about the legal setting, the court setting, obviously before we knew that Brian was going to plead guilty, and that he probably was called to testify as a witness for the prosecution. Okay, which makes sense. So if he was called as a witness for the prosecution when actually in reality he probably knew that Brian didn't do it, he would have needed advice. And the Page of Wands is basically, he didn't have the imagination, he didn't have the creativity to be able to not make something up. It's more like be imaginative with his words, if that makes sense. And it feels like someone was advising him on what to do, how to how to deal with a cross-examination or whatever it might have been. The Two of Wands is it feels like a should I stay or should I go card. It feels like whether he wanted to stay in Moscow or move away. And I don't know if that was immediately after or as time progressed. I don't know what his decision was, but I can feel him trying to weigh up. Staying is tough because it's a constant reminder, but it's also all my friends and everyone I know, my family. I don't know if his family are there, maybe they're not, but and then leaving is a fresh start. Yeah, I don't know. So opportunity, perseverance, conquest, spirit, untapped potential. Two of Swords reversed. He was really struggling in making a decision. And also I feel like he had a sense of obligation in a way to other people to stay, because other people didn't have the choice to just up and leave the way he did, and he felt it was disrespectful to some people to do that. And we've got strength. I mean, I do think he is strong, but he doesn't feel like someone who's a dominant personality, put it that way. I think he's more subdued than Kaylee, for example. I feel a protective vibe coming from him as well, like he's keeping an eye out for other people, especially if he knows certain things, and I don't know how much he knows, but if he's got the full story and he knows exactly what went down that night, he's probably not been able to share it out of fear, and therefore there may be other people that he feels he has to be near to-ish to keep an eye on, just in case. It's tricky. I've never had a bad vibe from Jack. I don't know why everyone was so hard on him, to be honest, just because he was Kaylee's ex. Was it just because he was Kaylee's ex and therefore he's next, therefore he's jealous, therefore he's going to go and kill everyone? Really? I mean, wow. So success, abundance, status and privilege, maintaining humility and balance. Clarified by the Four of Cups reversed. And the King of Cups reversed. Okay. So this isn't about him. I think this is about Steve Gonsalves. That King of Cups in reverse comes out in every reading, and as far as I'm concerned, that is him. And the success and abundance explains how Jack feels, or how he sees him as someone who's successful and abundant, who has status and privilege, not in the traditional sense, I don't think, but he probably has status in some sense. I think he's, you know, I don't know, has he got connections? But it's almost like he showed, I think he had a definite amount of respect for Steve up until this happened. And then he saw things that he didn't like, I feel. Because, the Four of Cups in reverse isn't a bad card. It's actually about opening up again after feeling a sense of disinterest or detachment. It's almost like having, and I don't know, maybe he did, but maybe Steve was in his ear constantly contacting him, constantly calling him in the early days, asking him what happened, what do you remember, you know, what did she say, who did she see, you know, it might have been all of that kind of thing. And he got to a point of just feeling like he needed to switch off. He wasn't hearing it, he couldn't hear it anymore, he couldn't listen, it was just like too much. But then, very much like I said at the beginning of this reading, that reversed and he actually started really listening, because he was starting to see and hear things that were starting to tell him some things about people. So, and I don't know if it's true, whether there has been a distancing between Jack and Steve G. But when I say a distancing, like a deliberate, there's been something happen there which has, maybe because Steve G didn't get what he wanted out of Jack. I don't know. I have to say my attitude towards Steve G is shifting a little bit, and that's only because Kaylee came to me the other night, and I happened to be watching one of Steve's recent interviews where he was saying, well, he's starting to question everything basically. He still thinks it's Brian Kohberger. But saying that, actually, if you actually watch the interviews and you start doing a bit of vocabulary analysis, you'll start to see that, does he actually think it's Brian Kohberger in reality? Does he? Is he even subconsciously questioning that as well? But I had Kaylee come to me and I had her say, yes, Dad. It's like, for her, that's what she's waiting for. She wants him to start questioning everything. And finally, he's doing it. He's questioning the people that were meant to have his back. So, yeah. So, grow up, patience, autonomy, empowerment, Knight of Swords. That could be Jack. It could be Jack. He might be an air sign. I don't know what he is, but it just feels like there's a shift happening at some point. I don't know how long ago or how recently, where he's just said, no, I've got to go and live my life. I've got to go after what's mine, what I still have. I still have a life to live. I can't just live in the shadow of, this. It's difficult though, because the Knight of Wands in reverse comes in, which means that he was still torn. It still feels like it's like being excited to a certain extent about this new chapter in his life. But also, it's very much like Kaylee. It's that kind of knowing it's time to move on, but can't, because I need to find out what's going to happen first. I need to stay. I need to stop. I need to stay and listen and watch and observe, because if I don't, I'm gonna I'm going to miss it. It's a weird one. Isolation, rejected, left alone, self-inflicted. Clarified by the Wheel of Fortune reversed. And the Seven of Cups reversed. I think he went through a period of time where, because he was literally reading everything there was on social media about him, about all the conspiracy theories, about all the people that said he was an evil so-and-so that had definitely done it, and la la la, and it almost like consumed him to the point where he had to shut himself away because he was frightened. I think he was frightened that he was someone's target and it wasn't who he expected, you know. It's like he never expected it to be the general public, or but that was an illusion. I think he built that up in his head to be something bigger than it was, because the Seven of Cups is illusion. But he had a hard time getting off that cycle, I do feel. So this delay, procrastination, and I said it feels like his biggest regret, one of his biggest regret, was not speaking to Kaylee or taking that call that night. As far as I'm aware, as far as Kaylee told me, it was because he was highly inebriated. Well, no, she didn't. She said that's why she was trying to contact him, because he was out of his space and saying some stupid stuff, but not that kind of stupid stuff, but just being very overly emotional, and she just wanted to check he was okay, apparently. So the Six of Pentacles reversed. Yes, I sort of feel this with a lot of people in this case, the people that have been left behind, is that, you know, the regret of when you look back and you think, oh, they did so much for me. I didn't realise until now how much they did for me, how much the impact they had on me as a person, how much they changed my life. And I don't feel like I ever either let them know that or even managed to give them something that was equal to that. And that's how he feels. He feels like she gave him the best of her, but he feels like he didn't do the same for her. I think you're wrong, Jack. Apparently, I mean, I know, not apparently, Kaylee adored you. She still does adore you. They always said, and that's what this card is about, even after their relationship broke up, that they would always be friends, which is really nice. And then we have that factory, industrial card, which was a bit of an outlier. I don't know what this one's about. Industrial production, manufacturing process, assembly line. Clarified by the Fool. And the Eight of Swords reversed. So the Fool again is all about new beginnings, taking a leap of faith in some way, starting out on his new life adventures. I mean, he doesn't work in a factory, does he? I can't see that. I've got Kaylee popping in now and again, and not that this has got anything to do with factory, but she's just given me a memory that she had of, it was a Saturday night or a Friday night. They were having, you know, it was the usual kind of party atmosphere at the house. She said Jack was there. There was a lot of people milling about, a lot of people. And Jack was in the kitchen talking to someone. I don't know. It was a male, another fraternity brother, someone, somewhere around the same age. But they were talking in hushed tones, like they were not whispering exactly, but they were being very secretive. And Kaylee said she's walked in, all being very sort of loud and rambunctious, and she's like, "Come on, guys, what are you two gossiping about, or whatever? What are you two whispering about, or something?" And she said she'd never seen Jack look so angry in all her life. But she said she knew he wasn't angry with her, but she, in that moment, she knew that something serious was being talked about, and she never found out what it was. He never told her. And she thinks that that's when he found out, or that's when he knew what was going on, because that person told him. Can't you tell me who it is, Kaylee? I'm getting an image of what they look like, but she can't give me the name. So she's giving me the name of Austin, but then she said, yeah, like Texas. Austin, like Texas. So I don't know who that is, but I'll be doing some research, put it that way. So I don't know if she's saying Austin, Texas, because that's where he's from, or if she's saying Austin, like Texas. I don't know, but either way. The Eight of Swords reversed is freedom. He freed himself from feeling like he was, I don't know, he feels like he was part of a factory, like he was on an assembly line. He was just another person to process. It may be how he felt he was treated in the early days when he was being investigated, I don't know, but it's like very cold and calculated, and there was no care behind it or concern, or. And then we've got the bustling hub. And that's the other thing that makes me feel like bustling hub and social nexus. The morning of the unalivings, before Dylan or Bethany contacted the police, there were rumours that everyone was talking about it before it was even reported. And that's what I think that card's about. It's everyone talking about, have you heard something's gone down at 11:22? And again, I'm getting this image of Jack, like, up until that point, thinking maybe it was just gossip, maybe it was all just talk, maybe it was just... But then as soon as he started seeing those messages coming in, and it feels like a torrent of messages, everyone messaging him to say, oh my God, have you heard? Is it true? Have you seen Kaylee? Have you seen Maddie? And like all these people. And he was just like, that's when it started to hit, like this could have actually happened. We've got the Magician in reverse as well. Which is being powerless and feeling like there's nothing he could do. And then we've got the Hierophant. I mean, that feels to me like the police reached out to him pretty soon after the four of them were discovered, or it was announced they were discovered. It's like, it almost feels like he was immediately picked up for questioning. So then we've got this complacency and release. The complacency is giving me more of a I don't care anymore vibe. It's like, I don't care anymore what people think of me. I don't care. I don't know. I think he went through a lot. Yeah, 9 of Wands and the 5 of Wands. Yeah, he did, his mind did change, but to begin with, it was very much like, do what you have to do. I don't care, you know, do your worst. It's that kind of thing. But then out came the resilience and the persistence and the determination to set the record straight, or to prove to anyone and everyone. Even though I think there was a time when he thought, why do I even care what these people think? I don't even know them. I'm never going to meet them. Why do I care what a complete stranger thinks of me? Which I understand and I wholeheartedly agree with, but not when it's a, you know, if you're in the public eye, you end up with a reputation, and there's, you know, a lot of the time there's nothing you can do about it. It's different if you're not in the public eye and the odd person thinks you're a certain way because they've made assumptions about you. That's different. That doesn't matter. But when it's we're talking hundreds and thousands of people, that does make a difference. And he had to come out fighting, and that's what this is about. The 5 of Wands. And I don't know. Like I said, I don't follow. I try and keep up with the official stuff, you know, with the court hearings and the odd interview from the people that were actually there. But when it comes to the social media, Twitter, you know, anything like that, and I will steer clear. But yeah. And then we've got release, which is the last card. Clarified by the 4 of Swords reversed and the High Priestess. Oh, bless him. Do you know, I think he even got to a point where he couldn't see the point in carrying on. I actually feel that. That's what the 4 of Swords in reverse and release is about. The 4 of Swords is like, almost, is like giving up. And the release is just anything to stop. He just wanted to be released from the pain. But you know what stopped him? So when this card comes up, it's a bit like with the Steve G, I always get the King of Cups reversed, whereas this card I always feel is Dylan. And I'm not saying that Dylan deliberately, like, could see he was struggling and went and saved his life. I'm not saying that at all. What I am saying is he realised there was something about Dylan, or he found something out about Dylan, which is what basically woke him up and gave him a purpose to carry on, because it's like, I don't want to say revenge, but not revenge, because revenge would then allude to thinking she did it, and she didn't do it. But he knew something. He knew something that she had lied about, fabricated, that he 100% knew. And it kind of triggered something in him, where he went from like almost giving up, almost like, to then suddenly coming alive and saying, right, I've got to do everything I can now to find out what the hell is going on here, or what has been going on. Which he's been doing quietly, I think. I don't know, unless any of you know that if he's been, you know, active on, I very much doubt he's been active on social media, but yeah, so that's the one many of you have been asking for, is the Jack DuCoeur reading, probably because you all think he's some evil, murderous rat, which I don't think he is, and unless you can see something else in the cards that I'm not seeing, but you know, and also I'm sure Kaylee would be the first person to tell me if she'd seen something that he'd done. She hasn't. She's only told me what he knew. And why couldn't he do anything about it? I think we're talking about some big players here that you just have no, you know, he, even if he tried, he would have come off the same way as Kaylee. Okay, guys. Thank you, as always. Thank you for your love, your support, your encouragement and your engagement that I return to you tenfold. If you do want to book a reading, the link's in the description just below. Yeah, you can just book directly into my calendar, or you can email me. It's revelationtarottgb@gmail.com if you've got some questions. Otherwise, I'll leave you with this reading. Thank you as always. I'll see you next time. Enjoy the journey.